hadith narrators and scholars indirectly insult the Prophet ﷺ. If we are to look at the popular Twelver narrative holistically, the Prophet appears to be a tyrannical, sociopathic man lacking wisdom and someone who is inadequate at his job. Let's have a look at some examples of this. In an attempt at slandering Aisha, the Shia narrators and scholars try to excuse that the Prophet ﷺ merely married her to create a clan tie with Banu Taym for security. Now, this claim is already ridiculous, as Banu Taym was by no means a powerful clan. To make things worse, this only goes on to make the Prophet look as if he was lacking wisdom, as the Twelvers also believe that this wife then went on to ironically plot against him with another wife and murder him. This demonstrates not only a bad choice of spouse, but also a lack of wisdom in marrying an evil person. Moving on, the Twelvers are driven by their scholars to believe that the Prophet ﷺ married a daughter to Uthman, who they claim went on to murder her. He ﷺ then married another daughter to Uthman. He murdered her too and went unpunished. As a father of multiple daughters myself, I cannot fathom what kind of person would do such a thing. It implies a lack of love, remorse, and emotional response, all traits of a psychopath. You might be able to excuse marrying one daughter off, but two? It keeps getting worse. According to the Twelvers, all except a handful of the Prophet ﷺ's companions apostatized after his death.
ارتد الناس بعد النبی الا ثلاث بعد از پیغمبر یک جریان ارتدادی پدید آمد جز 3 نفر که سلمان و مقداد و ابوذر سائل می‌فرمود ارتد الناس بعد الا ثلاث ارتد الناس والصحابه الا ثلاثه ارتد الناس بعد رسول الله الا ثلاث.
Now, this of course implies that the Sahaba were never fully convinced of Muhammad ﷺ's prophethood in the first place, implying inadequacy. Also, disgustingly, according to the Twelver narrative, the most evil people in the history of the world, Abu Bakr, Omar, Aisha, etc., are those he chose to be closest to him. I cannot think of another word more befitting of this other than retarded. Here's another. After the Prophet's death, according to the Twelvers, his other friend Omar went on to kill his other daughter, Fatima. So that's 2 of his friends killed 3 of his daughters on separate occasions, again implying a foolish choice of friends that can only be excused by mental and emotional retardation. And another. The Shia scholars and hadith narrators try to portray Khalid bin Walid as a tyrant. Again, this only goes on to insult the Prophet. Apparently, he knowingly appointed a known tyrant who massacred innocent people, who then went on to massacre more innocent people and went unpunished. This implies that the Prophet ﷺ was either a foolish leader or a psychopathic tyrant. Now, all of this is simply dismissed by Shia scholars who popularly quote the Quran saying, "Nor does he speak from his own inclination." To this I say, what was the wisdom behind all of these aforementioned events? It is clear that the Shias are driven to believe these ridiculous things by their scholars and narrators, as the most important thing for them is to attack the Sahaba. The baseless lies that the Shia, out of their hatred, have spread about the Sahaba throughout history has only gone on to make the Prophet ﷺ look bad. Ahl Sunnah completely dismiss these baseless narratives and understand the Prophet ﷺ to be wise, loving, and divinely inspired for the benefit of the Muslims and the rest of mankind. He ﷺ was the best of creation, demonstrated in his choices and actions, demonstrated in his choice to surround himself with great men, the Sahaba, may Allah be pleased with them all. In part 2, we will be looking at another way the Shias in reality discredit the Prophet as a power-thirsty individual who ultimately sought power and status for his family, and that the fact that a fundamental tenet of his faith, according to the Shia, was wilaya to his family, merely demonstrates this reality. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.